Welcome to another edition of the show. WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry on when he knew Jade Cargill had it. Hall of Famer Mark Henry has commented on the success of current WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Jade Cargill and explained when he knew she had potential to be a major star in wrestling. Before making a name for herself and when becoming the longest reigning TBS champion, Cargill had a tryout with WWE in 2019. This was organized through Henry after he learned about her career as a basketball player, and speaking with Chris Van Vliet on Insight, the world's strongest man explained when he discovered Cargill was interested in becoming a professional wrestler, as well as what she said to Henry that made him believe she wanted to take wrestling seriously. Before we continue, do not forget to like and subscribe. I was like, no disrespect to you, your pictures are great, but there's a lot of pretty girls, she said. I'm different, and that's my gimmick. I say I'm different, so when she hit me with that I was like, oh, you're different. I said, I tell you what, why don't you go and see Rip Rogers? Rip called me and said, Mark, I don't know where in the hell you got this one, but I bent her over and hit her across her back as hard as you could hit a human, and she told me, that's all you got, old man. I was like, let's go. I knew she had it. Cargill will fight alongside her partner Bianca Belair to defend their WWE Women's Tag Team Championship at Clash at the Castle in a triple threat match against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, as well as Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn. For decades leading into 1984, American women's wrestling had, unfortunately, been a bit of a sideshow. However, starting in the late 1970s, women's wrestling in Japan was booming, and Vince McMahon took notice on his trips there. While many give Vince McMahon credit for incredible genius in marketing pro wrestling, in reality Vince had made several tours of Japan before 1984 and simply tried to recreate what had already been done, and did so successfully, wrote Dave Meltzer in the December 21, 1987 issue of his Wrestling Observer newsletter. Vince's big attempts to push women's wrestling, which ultimately failed every time, were a result of seeing what big business women's wrestling in Japan had become. Though it was not a rousing box office success, the first such attempt with Wendy Richter as the top star still made a major impact. Thanks to the coup that was then massive pop music star Cyndi Lauper becoming Richter's in-canon manager, Richter's big shot at Fabulous Moolah's WWF Women's Championship was aired live on MTV as the brawl to end it all. Not only would Richter win the title, kicking off a major marketing push, but the crossover interest was such that the live special on July 23, 1984, drew a massive 9.0 Nielsen rating. With the Los Angeles Times reporting 5 days later that MTV reached roughly 24 million homes at the time, that would put the audience as about 2.16 million homes, almost surely a cable TV record at the time, in light of how the weekly wrestling shows had been doing.